Okay, once we have our 8 ovals or heads drawn, now we're going to label them and then transfer that to a human figure, and we're going to label where all of the body parts lie so that that translates over into this figure. Okay, so let's take your ovals, and I went ahead and just numbered mine, that way I wouldn't have to count every single time. And the end of the first oval is our head. At the end of the third oval is the waist and the elbow. At the end of the fourth sits your pelvis. At the end of the fifth oval is your mid-thigh area. Let me put that mark there. Mid-thigh. It's also where your wrist is / hands. At the end of your sixth oval is your knees. And then at the end of your 8 is your feet. Something to remember about your feet, they're the same size as your head, believe it or not. So this measurement here will in turn become the size of your feet. Okay, so let's move over to the right side of our paper and draw our human figure. So you can do those same measurements again, or you can take maybe a ruler or a piece of paper and just sort of come over, make a little mark there and go, okay, I know that this is where my head is gonna start. I'm also working with an HB. I'm working with a really light pencil. In a minute, I'll go over it with a 2B or a 4B just to sort of darken it up. Okay, there's my oval. That's going to be at the end of, or that's going to be my head. The next place I want to mark out is where my waist is going to be. So I'm just going to take this piece of paper and just make a mark over here, all the way off. Bring it over here. And this is going to be where my waist is. So I'm just going to make a simple shape first. I'm going to make my neck. So I've got 2 lines right there for my neck. I'm going to make some shoulders that come out and down. And then I'm just going to kind of curve it and bring it in for a waist. Just some simple shapes. Okay. The next measurement I want to take is where my pelvis is. And this is going to be where your legs start. So again, I'm going to make just a simple shape here. I can make sort of an upside down triangle. We can play with that a little bit later. Okay, and then let's go ahead and make these other measurements here. I've got my mid-thigh right here, and then my knees right here. Okay, so I'm gonna take, if I know my knees are right here, I'm gonna make my thigh. So I'm gonna come from here and just make a curved line. Come from here and make a curved line. I'm going to make another curved line here and another curved line here. Okay. Now I'm going to take the measurement where my feet end up. About right there. Okay, so this is going to be the bottom of your feet. It's not going to be your ankle, right? Your ankle's probably going to live about here. So when you go to draw this, make sure you're leaving enough room to draw your feet. Okay, so your knees come in and then come back out for your calf muscle. And then they're going to go back in again for your ankle. And then this part is a little bit straighter, but does come in at the ankle. Okay, so here's behind my knee. Gonna come in, gonna come out again for my calf muscle. Come back in for my ankle. And then this is a little straighter. We'll come back and play with all that in a minute. Okay, so let's just draw some feet here. I'm going to draw these two different ways. I'm going to draw a foot off to the side, and then I'm going to draw one coming right at you. When you're drawing anything that's coming right at you, it's called foreshortening. So it's coming forward, and in the process, it's shortening. So it looks funny, especially when you're drawing it. It looks like it doesn't make sense. But once you've drawn it, then you can see that it does make sense, right? What you're doing is you're just drawing it way shorter than what it normally is. And that's how it looks like it's coming out at you. Okay, let's draw this foot coming off to the side. So I've got my heel that comes out and comes down. And remember we talked about the head is the same size as my foot. So you can take this measurement, you can take it with your pencil again, or you can just take it with your finger, whatever you want to do, and just sort of make that measurement and make sure your feet aren't too big or too small. So I'm going to just come out here and just do a diagonal line down. That's all I'm going to do for that foot. For this one that's coming out at you, I'm going to come in, I'm going to come out like this, and then I'm going to make those toes, right? Because if you're standing and I'm looking right at you, those toes are what I'm going to see first. So in that case, I'm just going to kind of make some simple shapes, which are just circles, really. I'm just going to make some circles. You got 5 of those piggies. So I'm just going to make 5 circles. The one, your big toe is the biggest, right? And then it's just going to kind of go smaller from there. And then I'm going to have just a diagonal line that comes out. And we'll play with that in a little bit too. Okay, we need arms. So let's go ahead and do our arms. Let's make this measurement, it's already here. The elbow is going to hit at the waist. And then our hands are going to land about mid-thigh. Okay, so let's start by just rounding our shoulders and coming in. This is where our elbow is going to sit. I'm going to erase this part so we can tell that that's arm. Let me try that again. Okay, so there's our elbow. I'm going to draw our arms so that they're just right beside us. Okay, so your wrist is going to stop before your hands, right? So let's just say our wrist sort of ends there. Then I'm going to kind of out on the diagonal and come back in. And we're just doing a basic shape for now. Okay, let's do the same thing on the other side. Bringing that shoulder down. Here's our elbow. I'm going to erase this part. Now I know a lot of you like to draw anime. And or cartoon style, and that's perfectly fine. The difference with this is that this is proper proportions. When you're doing anime or cartoon, those are a little bit more exaggerated, which is fun in itself, and I know that some of you like to draw that way. I love that you have your own style, but for this, I want to practice those proper proportions, and then once we've learned them, once we learn the rules, then we can break the rules, right? All right, so there's our basic figure. I'm going to erase some of these guidelines, and I'm going to grab a darker pencil and go over some of my lines with a darker pencil and just sort of smooth it out. Maybe I'll take a 4B. Just sort of make it so it's not so harsh. Right now it seems really sort of rigid to me. So I'm just going to give it just a little bit of life, maybe some shoulder blades just come out. Darken it up. And I'm just sketchy. I'm just very sketchy right now, but I'm bringing some of those lines and just sort of creating a little bit more of a lifelike person, if you will. So our person kind of looks like a mannequin, doesn't really have any clothes on. That's fine. We'll give them some clothes a little bit later. Just want to darken them up just a little bit. Just maybe soften those edges. Maybe define where that knee is. Okay. Alrighty, so there is our fella. Okay, can't wait to see yours.